Something kind of exciting has been happening over the last few hours, over the last 24 hours. I have some very special friends who are visiting, they're on their spring break in Canada, and they're visiting us in Florida and thawing out after a long winter. And I saw a Facebook video yesterday of one of them and their daughters doing bagpipes and Highland dancing on the beach, about 3 hours north of here in New Smyrna Beach. And I showed the video to Mrs. Chansey, and Mrs. Chansey said, "Oh my goodness, second grade is getting ready for their international feast. Wouldn't that be great to see them perform?" Then I went on to learn from Mrs. Gill, and actually I'm going to turn over the mic to Mrs. Gill, that all of the school has been learning about bagpipes this week. So would you like to?
Yeah. Well, this assembly was a total surprise to me. So when I heard that we were going to have bagpipers and dancers, perfect. All of us watched, except for one class I think this afternoon, all of us have watched the Scotland Brave on a big concert, come in with the bagpipes, and then they played, what song? Does anybody remember? Let's hear you. Amazing Grace. So now, we talked about the bagpipe, we saw what it looked like, now we get to see it for real. So that's the best part, and what perfect timing before St. Patrick's Day and everything, and after the whole school has viewed the video. So I'm excited, so off you go.
Thank you. I just want to see by show of hands, how many of you have never, ever in your life seen bagpipes played for real? Not ever, ever, ever. Awesome. So this will be your first time seeing bagpipes. It's pretty cool. I also want to, before we start, I want to point out, guys, thank you. I'd like to actually introduce our guests. Standing against the wall here is Mrs. Spivak, Shiloh Spivak. Mrs. Spivak is actually who took over my job in Canada at my old school, and she has triplets who are here. The boys over here, we have Ashley Bennett, and over here we have Tina on the board. And they're visiting from Canada. And then next to Shiloh is Lisa Mitchell, who is a second grade teacher at my former school. Outside, you'll meet him soon, is Mr. Mitchell, who is a middle school teacher. And Allie and Megan are their daughters who are going to dance for us. And interestingly, I haven't seen the Mitchell family since June of 2013, because after school finished in Canada, at the end of the 2012-13 year, they decided to skip town and travel the world. And so they went and saw 28 countries in 1 year. They did a world tour and had a really great time. And then when they came back to Canada, I was already gone. So this is kind of a reunion for us. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Mr. Mark Mitchell and his daughter, Monica.
here, and we're happy to share our talents with you. How many of you have a talent? Oh, everybody's got a talent. How many of you like to play an instrument? Oh, fantastic. How many of you like to dance? All right, well, we're going to share you some instruments and some dancing today. I hear some of you have been studying this week about bagpipes? That is great. Well, these are the bagpipes. So we're going to play some bagpipes for you today. We're going to do some dancing. What I have to do first is tune up. You heard coming in, instruments are always picky things. And they always have to be tuned. So especially in this humidity, I'm going to just have to do a little bit of work first before we start the dance. Wasn't part of the show. Okay, this dance is called the Highland Fling, okay? That was called the Highland Fling. Can someone tell me what country the bagpipes originate in? Yes, back there. Scotland, that's right. And there's actually, it's kind of neat because bagpipes are all over the world. Bagpipes, does anybody know what country bagpipes started in? Over there, the blue shirt. Not Ireland, no. It was one of the later bagpipes. Sweden, no. Germany's a good guess, but no. It actually started in Egypt. That's when they started the first bagpipes. And they traveled when people moved through the Middle East and up through Europe. And finally they arrived in Scotland. And Scotland is a big, wide open country with a lot of land, so they had to come up with these big ones. They call these the Great Highland Bagpipes, so they're really loud. Some people in the front realize that, right? They're like, whoa, that's loud. But they've got to be loud, because in Scotland, the people are kind of spread out. When you go out on the big hills and the mountains and pipe up there, you got to be a bit louder. Sometimes they're actually very nice to hear at a distance. That's what Mrs. Mitchell likes to say. we'll do another dance called the Kilt. Some people ask me, am I from Scotland? Do you think I sound like I'm from Scotland? No, I'm from Canada. Well, my grandmother was born in Glasgow, so I do have some Scottish blood in me, and some Irish, and some English, and some German. I've got a lot of different cultures in there. But just because you're Scottish doesn't mean you can't play the bagpipe. Especially the Great Highland, we have people with cultures and heritages all over the world. So it's definitely a multicultural thing. Do you have a question?
When you start, why do you bring it back?
Oh, why do I bring it back? That's a question. When I start the bagpipes, why do I bring it back? But what I have to do first is fill this bag. This used to be a sheep's stomach, and it used to be made of sheep's leather. Now it's made of synthetic materials, but I gotta fill it, I gotta blow it up. Like a big balloon. I gotta fill it up, and then I hit the bag a little bit, just gently, just enough to start the reeds that are in here called the drone tenor and the bass drones. And they start up, they start vibrating. You know that sound you hear? Oh, that is called the drones. And so as soon as I strike up, I can stick it under my arm, because I would have trouble out here squeezing it and playing at the same time. So my elbow is what squeezes the bites. While I blow in, my elbow goes out. When I'm taking a breath, I'm squeezing in, keep the pressure on so my sound doesn't go up and down. But it takes a little while. It took me 6 months of just playing on the little chanter instrument before I even started with the bagpipes. And then they say 7 years makes a bagpiper. 7 years. And there's a rhyme that kind of goes like that, so it takes a long time. But I started making some sounds after 6 months, and it sounded pretty good to me. And after 2 years, my friends and my family said, yeah, you sound a lot better now. A lot of squeaking. That's why they call it the squeak pipe sometimes, the squeak bag. Yes. That's right. So when I take my mouth off, I'm pushing on the bag, so the air is still passing to the reed, which is in there. Does anybody know the instrument in an oboe? You ever heard of an oboe? If you ever seen an oboe, it's a double reed. It's the same thing as inside this chanter is a double reed. Okay, so we'll play another song and dance for you combination. This is called For McDonald's Fancy. Kind of fancy. question? What's your question? Yes? It's hard. Yes, that's right. Exactly. So you're right. We wear a kilt. Can everybody say kilt? That's right. Scots wear kilts. And each one, this is a Mitchell. My last name is Mitchell, and this is the Mitchell pattern. That one's called a black watch, and each person that has Scottish heritage has their own. So we have to get the JKs out of here. We have one more tune to play. I might be able to answer some questions at the end. We're in a bit of a hurry right now. So I'm going to play a song that's pretty famous. Most of you will probably have heard it before. We'll see if you can recognize it.
Thank you very much, guys. That was fantastic. Really enjoyed it. Who can tell me what that last tune was called? Let's see. Got it. Amazing Grace. And most of you, if not all of you, still have heard that this week in school during music class, and I hope you enjoyed hearing it live. So, let's maybe allow JK and K to dismiss so they can get out to carpool in time. Does anybody have any questions they would like to ask? Okay, the pink shirt. Okay, boys and girls, so you know this one. I'll repeat the question for you, because it's a good question. Hey guys. So the question was, hey guys, the question was, when you blow and play, does it hurt your ears? No it doesn't actually. It takes a little while to get used to blowing at the pressure that it does, but it doesn't really hurt my ears. Only thing, sometimes if I'm in a small room, the noise of the chanter hurts my ears. If you can imagine, when I practice with 9 or 10 other bagpipers in the same room in a circle, in a smaller room way smaller than this. Can you imagine how loud it would be? Then it hurts our ears, so we have to wear earplugs. Go ahead, yes. I've bagpiped since 2006, so this is my 9th year playing bagpipes. So, with musical instruments, the earlier you get them, the better, but I started when I was in my 30s, so it's no problem to start later. Yeah, go ahead. I do play the guitar, and in high school I played the saxophone, so I love playing instruments. Absolutely. Over here in the green. How long did it take me to learn? Well, I'm still learning that, as you can probably hear. It's always a learning process, but
It was probably maybe a year and a half before I really sounded pretty good. So it's 6 months of just playing on a little instrument before I get started.
Did you self-teach yourself, or was there a teacher that taught you?
It is possible. The question was, did I self-teach myself? It is possible to teach yourself, but it's hard. So what I did was join a band. Up in Canada, we have lots of bands. I joined what was known as the police band, and sometimes bands, I'm sure there's one in this area, if they bring you in, they'll teach you. They'll provide the bagpipes for you because they're expensive, and then they'll teach you everything that you need to know. This one of them's black, yeah, sure. Blue.
I have two questions. One, why is there a zipper like in your back?
Oh, there's a zipper because there's a bag underneath. If you can see, it's actually a green colored bag. And that's what's airproof. It's actually made of Gore-Tex. You ever heard of that material? It used to be made out of leather. Some pipers still pipe with leather bags, but this one is made of Gore-Tex. So it allows me to get in and dry it out.
Yeah,
So as you can imagine, I spit a lot into it.
and have you ever been in a parade?
That's what we do. I'm in a parade band, so I'm in a lot of parades. That's what I do all the summer.
And everyone
Does anybody have any questions for the girls, the dancers?
That was my question.
Because Ali and Meg have danced for a long time, since they were in kindergarten. And then last year, in fact, we traveled around the whole world. And we actually, the girls competed in Scotland. And Ali actually competed the world champions of Highland dancing in Dunoon, Scotland. So it was a pretty amazing experience for her. So does anybody have questions for the dancers? Right?
Yeah, we only do Scottish dancing. Well, we practice by ourselves a lot of time during the week, and then twice a week or once a week you go in and have a teacher with like a whole class. Yeah.
How long did it take you to learn how to dance?
Well, we started when we were really little, so it took longer, but you learn by doing just simple things, by once the patty walk, one demonstrate patty walk.
Okay, so this is a really simple movement that you learn in maybe your first year of Highland dance. It looks like this. That's called a patty walk.
And so you learn simpler dances, and me and Ali have been dancing for a long time, so we know lots of different dances. And Scottish dancing is different than other dancing, because it's not like you just have one routine. So for the first dance we did, which was called the flag, we did a 4-step flag, which means we did a repetition of a couple movements, and we did 4 different sets of them. So you can get up to how many steps? You can get 6-step flag, you get lots of different steps.
What's the difference between the Irish jig and the Scottish dance? We have a student in 4th grade that does, oh, there you go, and she does Irish dancing. What's the difference?
I really don't know what the difference is because I've never done Irish dancing before. So does it look similar?
Yeah, go ahead and tell them. Well, the sound is like the same. The sound is the same, but the dancing is not the same because in the Irish jig, we have our hands to our sides, and you guys have it like that. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I've seen Irish dancing a couple times, but one of my best friends learned Irish dancing. She taught me a little bit about it, but I haven't really seen how much. You guys really care? Well, it takes a lot of practice to remember what song and what beat to dance on. So over time, I've been dancing for 8 years. So you learn over time the different dances that go with each song. So now when my dad plays a song, I can pick up the dance pretty quickly. Yeah? This isn't a special uniform, but we would wear something like this when we're dancing. We also have a jacket that we wear that's unique to Highland dancers. So if you ever go to a competition, you will see them and they wear kilts like this, and these are the shoes that they would wear. And it looks a little bit like this, but not exactly. Yeah. That's a good question. So my dad was taught by one of his friends how to bagpipe, and his friend's daughter actually started dancing, and we decided that we wanted to go along and try with it 8 years ago, and that's how it started, and we just learned from there, from our studio. Yeah?
How many did you dance in your school?
Well, Allie's performed at our school talent show, and I've shown teachers and stuff, but we don't perform with our school.
Thank you very much for those awesome questions, guys. I don't think anybody mentioned it, but Megan is actually in 8th grade and Allie's in 9th grade, so they're very talented for their ages. I actually taught, believe it or not, I taught Megan in 5th grade in Gazette, their PE gym class. I was her gym teacher. So thank you very much for sharing your talents with us today. I know that these guys are... I know that we'll be dismissing in about a half an hour, and I want to be able to take these guys for a tour through so they can see our school. But I wanted to wish you a happy Friday and a fantastic weekend. Please make sure you continue to wash your hands, because I know there's some sickness going around, you guys. So really, really take care to wash your hands, okay? Have a safe and happy weekend.